Um, I think we're gonna get started. We have 15 people. Yeah, we're gonna get started. I'm gonna put myself on mute.
Okay, cool. All right. So I just wanted to, thank you so much for Rise to Cyber, Kevin, for having me again on one of these little videos or little education stuff for Active Directory pen testing. I'm not going to get right into the box because doing just a hack the box machine is really simple. It's more about understanding who I am and why I'm even credited to actually talk about this stuff. So I do have my own company. I have a company called ISP Security, which stands for InfoSec Pat Security, and I offer penetration testing services, internal pen tests, external pen testing, social engineering, the whole shebang. It's ispsecurity.co for my website. So, and obviously all of my certifications here, and I have so many others that I don't really post. And yeah, so I've been pen testing now for probably 15, 16 years. So I think I have the skill set to really run the show with this. So why is Active Directory? I think Active Directory is my favorite, and because it's internal, right? I've done system engineering for many, many years, 21 years now. I am an old man. So, Active Directory is pretty much the crown jewel of any infrastructure, right? If you're in the cloud, Azure AD, or if you're on-prem AD. So technically, like if attacker owns your domain in your Active Directory, we own your whole entire network, right? We can do so much stuff. Why does that matter, right? You're like, oh, AD is just for users and computers. No, as an attacker, we can create user accounts, we can change passwords, we can add our self into group memberships, we can escalate out permissions or privileges, access to domain controllers. So if we're able to download something called a SAM database or your ntds.dit file, and then we can crack every single hash that resides in that domain. So it's pretty dangerous if an attacker is on your network. We have access to your servers, workstations, etc. And why does this matter, right? Again, what is the industries that house Active Directory, right? All enterprises, 98%, I would say, use Active Directory. I would say those 2% are probably just a SaaS application sitting in the cloud that it's on a work group or whatever. So, AD is everywhere: healthcare, finance, government, manufacturing, even SMBs, right? Small, medium-sized companies. On-prem AD, hybrid AD, hybrid Azure AD. So these are just a few little talking points I wanted to talk about, right? So how does most breaches happen in Active Directory? So as an attacker, if I'm inside your network, what I want to do is try to check the identity of the applications that are used and then try to abuse that, right? See if there's any weak passwords, see if any usernames that I have, in my crown jewels or whatever in my arsenal that I can go on the dark web and see if those passwords are reutilized. Or, we're human, right? So say for example, your password is, winter 2026 exclamation, and now you have to change it because 90 days or 120 days came up. You're probably just going to put another exclamation point just to make it simple, right? We're human. We like to simplify things. So if I did find a password in the wild with whatever, like even if it's winter 2026 dollar sign, I'm probably going to add another dollar sign and just try those combinations to see if I can get into those accounts. So what else can we abuse? We can abuse NTLM hashes. We can do Cobros misconfigurations, service account privilege abuse, delegation settings. There's so much, I can talk about so much stuff in Active Directory. It's my favorite. That's why I always like to talk about it. Um, So yeah, compliance and cybersecurity insurance requirements. So for pen testing, your AD, you need this in order for you to have uh, be compliant. You can check many frameworks. Many frameworks require certain access control validation. For example, PCI DSS, you have to make sure in your CD environment you don't have access to your production environment. Privilege access and privilege account reviews, internal security reviews and testing, segmentation validation, which is in that PCI Rome. So yeah, I think just like having some of these talking points are really, really important. not just showcasing how to hack it, right? What are we trying to abuse? Okay, so in today's video, we're going to be doing return. Return is an easy Windows machine. I didn't want to go too crazy because I don't know everyone's skill set here that's watching this or even after the recording. So return is an easy difficulty Windows machine featuring network printer administration panel that stores LDAP credentials. This is the real world, right? If you have Kevin's favorite, your printer on your network, if you have some kind of SMB credential authentication, those printers normally use LDAP. So you authenticate through your Active Directory onto that printer, and then you can print, scan, etc. Maybe you're scanning to an SMB share, whack, file server, whack, whatever. So that lever, or as an attacker, we can leverage that to see if there's credentials in there. And if it's in plain text in 389, which is LDAP, that's not LDAP secure. So that data that's traversing or communicating is in plain text. And we'll see that shortly. And I haven't done this machine in so long, and I want to show you guys when's the last time I did that. It was released in 2021, so it's 5 years ago. Okay. So these credentials can be captured by inputting a malicious LDAP server, which allows obtaining foothold onto the server throughout a WinRM service. The user found to be a part of a privileged group that features exploited to gain system access. All right, so let's go ahead and give it a shot. Let's see what's up. All right, and I'm going to just first do an Nmap scan. And if those people here that don't know what Nmap scan is, I'll explain that just in a second. Let me just run this really quick. I'm just going to put r.txt. So just for the machine. So Nmap is going to see if there's any ports open, any services open. We're going to do a -T4 because it's a CTF. We don't care about making noise. We're not trying to invade anything and be quiet. And we're going to go ahead and put that into an output called r.txt. And the IP address is this IP, 10.129.95. Was it 121 or 241? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take this for best practices. And I'm going to, because I could probably fly through this machine in probably 6 or 8 minutes. So I'm not going to do that with you guys today. I'm actually going to document everything that we're doing. So first thing that we do is run an Nmap scan. We want to see what's open, right? So let's go over the review of what exactly is open. So we have 53 for DNS. We have 80 for HTTP. So we know IIS is running on here, version 10. 88, which is Kerberos, excuse me, 135, 139, 389, etc., etc. So SMB and all this good stuff is there. So since there's, I think I remember this box. Let me see when's the last time I did this box. So you guys can see, I did this in 2022. So what is that, almost 4 years ago. So let's see how much I do remember. See if I remember. All right. So now, what I want to try to do is just browse out to the internet, browse out to excuse me, not the internet, the IP address since 80 is open. So let's go ahead and just see what we have here. And then we have a printer, right? So what does this mean? So if we try to browse to it, we can see if we can try to do settings. Okay, this is pretty juicy, right? So this is I don't know, what was it? HP? Is it HP? Or just maybe they just probably set this up. So what this is saying is server a server address is printer.return.local, right? So return.local is the domain and their printer's name is just printer, right? But we don't have the password here, right? We have no idea what this password is. So I want to see if I can take a snippet. I don't think I have a screenshot. Let's see if I can, just for my documentation. Let's just see. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and copy this. And I just want to copy the clipboard. Okay. And I want to go ahead and throw this in here. into the next section. I can paste that here. Okay. So now we have this for our notes, like when we do our pen test report or whatever. Now we can say, okay, this was accessing. Let me do that now. Oop. Accessing, I think it's like that. Accessing port 80 went to a printer page and had creds, right? But we don't know the creds yet, right? So this is just from my notes. And okay, so let's continue here. Oh, let's come back up here. Sorry. Let's see what else is on. So what I want to do is let's see if we can get any communication from that server back to our machine. So let's just, for an example, let's just do netcat. So we can do a netcat listener LVP, and then we can do 389, right? So what I'm doing here is listening in for any income connections to our Kali machine. So this is something called like a passback attack. So if we come back here, instead of the server, um, instead of this server, we can put our Kali machine, which I don't even know my Kali IP, so should get that first. So if I do an IPA show, my IP is 10.10.14.128. Okay. Okay. So technically, if we do 389, let's listen for here. So we're going to listen for any incoming connections on 389. And if I hit update, we should, there we go. So now we got a call back for printer, the printer's user, the printer's FQDN, and then something here. This is the printer password, right? So we can go ahead and copy this, and it's that easy, right? And let's come here and just put printer info from passback attack. And let's go ahead and just bring this over so it looks a little cleaner. And then we can come here. Okay. So now we have a username, a password, and let's see what else we got to do, right? So we can validate these credentials with Evil WinRM. So let's come back here. We don't need this anymore. We can go home and let's go ahead and cancel this. So with this, we can try to authenticate with Evil WinRM. Not that, that's a different machine. So let's come back to the IP address. I don't remember off the top of my head because I didn't take my fish oil today. All right, -U for user. And then my user is going to be svc-printer. Let's copy this, paste it, and then -P for password. And we're going to try this password here. Copy that. And then doom, doom, doom. Okay. And see if we can authenticate, right? So we're able to authenticate to that. We can do who am I, where that who am I space /priv, right? So this is going to give us all the privileges to this user. And we can see some privileges. We can, take a snippet of that and all that good stuff. But first we have to find the flag, right? So if we let's do a control L, come back up, cd ... And then if we do an ls here, we can go to desktop, do an ls, and we have the user.txt there, type user.txt, and there goes the user flag, right? So we can say, okay, this is the proof that we were able to get the user. So we can just put like user access flag. I don't know, whatever you want to name it. Okay. So that's that. So now we have to go for the root flag. So root flag. Okay. So now we can start working towards that. If there's any questions during this process, please let me know. You can throw it in the chat. Don't wait till the end because sometimes your question will slip. And just remember to jot it down. I will repeat those steps, what I did, and explain what I just did. So I was able to get the credentials. I got a mosquito bite on my freaking leg. But I got the credentials from the passback attack from our server. With those credentials, I was able to remotely connect to our server. In this case, 10.129.95.241 with the credentials that we're able to get, right? So this user has a low privilege a low privilege access. Let me get a sip of tea so I don't die. I need my addiction in the morning. All right. All right. So now what can we do here, right? We can do like net users. We can start enumerating who's on this machine. And then we can see, okay, there's two users, right? Or there's a couple of users. Guess KRBTGT, which is co-browsing, ticket granting, ticketing. So if we just copy this because I'm lazy and sometimes I mess up my spelling, net user and paste that, we can see the user information from the current user that we have logged in with, right? So we can take a snippet of this, copy it, however you want to do it. And you can see down here, we have some important data that we want to gather as an attacker, right? So local group memberships, we have print operators, remote management user or use, server operators, domain users, right? So server operators looks a little juicy to me. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a snippet of this, copy this just from my notes, and just put checked net user info. Oops, sorry, info. And that's pretty much what's juicy to me. Okay. So if we start going on the internet, right? If you don't know, and I think I remember, but let's just do research like I'm going to do. And we can look at like what can a server operations membership user do? I don't know, something like that, right? Uh, operation. So let's see if it gives us any info. Server operations operators. I'm an idiot. Operators. Sorry. Yeah. All right. So let's see what's up here, right? Let's server operators. Let's see. Okay. So this is something that's really, really cool that I can do as a user with server operators access, right? We can stop and start services. This is pretty key for an attacker, right? So key privileges, start and stop services, manage shared resources, backup and restore operations, log in locally. We know we can log in locally because we already did that. And then we can manage local users and groups. We know we can do that because we were able to see any other group. Okay. So give me 1 second. Let me go back to I want to go to my notes yeah, I want to actually use this. I want to see if I can paste this into here. These are my notes. Let's see. So this is a better understanding of what we're going to be doing. So Active Directory security groups. So if we just do Control F, if I do server operators, okay, operators, enter. Okay, enter. All right. So we can see here, like the members of the server operations group can administrate domain controllers. This group exists only on domain controllers. So this is pretty juicy, right? As an attacker, if this, this user that we're able to compromise, which was the server service group or server printer services user. That's what I meant. It's still early for me, but then you can see like well-known SIDs and RIDs, security identifiers. You can see the different types, built-in local, default containers, etc. Right? So, like I said, the most important thing we can do here is stop and start services. Right? So, what we could try to do is try to get a Netcat listener onto our server. So let's see. I don't know. Give me one sec. Before I say anything, can I locate nc.exe? Whoops, if I can spell. I can't like type without looking. I'm like really bad at that. Okay, cool deal. So we do have netcatlistener.nc.exe on our machine. That's perfect because I was hoping that we do. All right, so what we'll do is upload that to our machine here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do upload up. If I can spell up, L-O-U. Okay, and see if I can upload that. Okay, so if we do an ls now, we have this nc .exe. The reason why I'm doing this is because I need to have some kind of service to run as the SVC or the service printer user, right? So let me see. Let me go back. Let me click here. All right. So just going through my notes. Now, if we do like PS, I wonder if this actually works. Okay. So we can look at the services. Let's see what services are running, right? And let me look at the thousand processors. Let me, whoops, shoot. I don't want to do, damn it. Services. Okay. So let's try to bring this over so it's a little easier to see. Let me do this. Let me make this a little smaller. I don't know. I'm a little OCD, so give me 1 second. Sorry. All right, that's a little easier for me to read. Okay. So if we run services, we can see the services that are running, right? So anything here that looks like we can leverage, we can try to see what we can do here. So Windows Defender, we can see this service right here. Maybe we can try to leverage that. I don't remember when I did this box, what services I actually have used, but we'll see what's up, right? So next, what we can do is try to see if we can run um, the Defender, I would say the Windows Defender here. I think this definition update will be a little more juicy, at least from what it looks like. So what I want to do is I'm going to take some notes from let me come back here. So I want to have to make some modifications. Let's do, whoop. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm not going to be able to expand on this. All right, so what we're going to do is CMD, and we're going to have to run this on our callback machine. So mine is 128, right? 128 is my IP address to my Kali machine. So let me see. Let's come, whoops. So we're going to run sc.exe config, windefend, and then the bin path is right here. So we're going to see if we can, what the hell? All right, let's copy this and see if we can get this to cook. And let's see if it actually works. And right now, what we have to do is we have to see if this will, let's see if it actually, access denied. All right, not a problem. Let's see if we can do VMware tools, right? Let's see if we can do that. Let's just let's come back to our here. And I don't remember doing this. I remember doing the machine, but I don't remember what, you know, this is the whole beauty of hack and sacking, right? VM tools, right? So now we're going to use VM tools and we're going to use the same exact whatchamacallit, path. So let's go ahead and see if we have access to that, because that's a different binary that we can utilize, and see if that works. Oh, that succeeded. All right. So that's the tool that we're going to use, right? So now what we can do is start and stop that process. So now if we come over here on the right-hand side and let's do something cool, right? So let's run netcat again. So we're going to do netcat dash LVP 1 2 3 4 because this is the port that I'm going to listen on. And as an attacker, this is probably a port that's probably not going to be really recognized, right? So now we know that this process or this binary for VMware tools is executable, right? So now we're able to run netcat. So now we're running netcat here. Now we're going to run this executable, point back to our listener for a reverse shell. And so now let's do se.exe, right? So now we want to stop because remember, we can stop and start services, right? So stop VM tools, okay? And then it stopped. All right, so now if we come up and hit start, now we have a shell over here. I don't know if you've seen that, right? So now if I do who am I, I'm system authority. So I run the joint now, right? So now with that exploit, I was able to run, and now if I do, I'm root, right? I'm system authority. So we can actually just we can cd to c colon slash users slash administrator. Hope if I can spell administrator slash desktop. Don't be silly. Did the shell die just because of this? All right, maybe I'm too slow. Let's try this again. No problemo. All right, so let's come here, Control L. All right, let's do this. Stop the service. Start the service. There we go. Now we're back on. Maybe my typing is too slow. So let's try to do this again. And then users slash administrator. I'm not the best typer. Slash desktop. All right, so now if I do dir, we have this root.txt, type, root.txt, and boom, now we're able to get the root flag. So now, obviously, because you have like, I think, a certain amount of time for I think it's 60 seconds or something like that, 30 to 60 seconds for that process to restart itself. So now this thing is probably going to be dead. Yeah. So I just did it just in time to get the root flag. So now, yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is how you would compromise this kind of box. We have 30 more minutes. We can do something else. Let me see if there's any questions. I don't know where's the chat. Let's see, chat. Okay. I don't see any questions. I don't even know if I can see any questions. Um, or here. I don't see any questions. So I know we're running to like 1 o'clock. So maybe we can do something else. If that's cool, we can do similar stuff. Let's go back and we can kill this. We'll do another Windows machine. Let's see how long I can. So it took me what, 20 minutes to do that. So let's see what other machines there is. All right, let's stop this one. Stop this machine. And I like Hack the Box a lot better than Try Hack Me. Let's say driver. I think driver is another good one. We can just give this one a try. And I think it's another Windows machine. I think it has something to do with the driver. So driver is an easy Windows machine that focuses on, another printer exploitation. I'm doing all the printers just for Kevin. So yeah, so enumeration of the machine reveals a web server that is listed on port 80 along with SMB 445 and WinRM on port 5985, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going to read all this. It'll take me forever. So now what we can do is we'll do this machine real quick. I don't think, obviously, I don't know. I don't remember this machine either. Let's see when I did this one. Um, I know I did this machine. I never did this machine. No, I had to do this machine. I thought I did. But if not, we'll do it now. But yeah, if there's any questions about the other one, it's pretty much we found an LDAP um, credentials. We're able to do a passback attack because it's not LDAP S. Anything in LDAP, anything that's within LDAP protocol, it's in plain text. So if you have LDAP on your network, the chances are an attacker can see those credentials that you're utilizing. Doesn't matter how secret, how hard the password is. Doesn't really matter because it's going over the wire in plain text. Okay, cool. I thought I did this damn box. Now this is gonna drive me crazy. I never did this box. Interesting. This is really interesting. All right. So I thought I did. So maybe this would be a first for both of us. So let's just and I don't even have notes on this either. So maybe I never did this one. Because I looked at my notes really quick because I have like all the boxes that I ever did. I don't have driver. So I'm doing this on the fly, guys. So mkdir and then driver. And then we'll cd into driver. And then we'll just do a quick nmap scan. So obviously we have to start out with an nmap scan. And then we'll do D for driver. Actually, we'll spell that out because that's N95.238 and see what's up here. This is scary. I don't have any notes on this machine. So let's I swore I don't know, it just looked familiar, so maybe excuse me, I never did this machine. Interesting.
Yeah, challenge accepted.
Yeah. Yeah, now this is going to be a challenge because usually like every machine I do, I have my notes and I'm like, okay, like and I'm as you can see, like when I was doing my notes here, so I have the same exact notes on a different screen, so I can just like navigate through them. And you see here, like my notes aren't the best. Sometimes like I'll just like do like little things like this. I understand them. Like for example, PJPT notes, right? Um, come on, well PMPT, whatever for TCM security, which it's not even opening. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's because I'm logged in I don't know, whatever. I don't want to kill time with that. Okay. So let's see what's cooking. All right. Let's see if we can get this done in 24 minutes. All right. So it's port 80. So let's just do that really quick. See what's up. Let's go back out to the interwebs. Oops. Can't refresh, whatever. I don't care. All right. Let's see what's up here. All right. So we have a username and password, but we don't have a credentials. Let's see if we do like admin. I don't know. All right. That worked. Okay. Oh, I don't want to save this thing on my LastPass or anything. Don't want that here. All right. So cool deal. So that really worked. All right. So let's see default credentials. So that's the first vulnerability that we have here. And let's see about, okay. So we can upload this damn thing. We can upload and submit different kinds of files. Okay. So this is pretty good. So what if we created, let's just use ChatGPT. Because I love ChatGPT. We can create a command injection. I believe for printers, it's a CF SCF file, which is shell command file. So I'm just gonna put like uh create me a file for a CTF on Hack the Box. And for the um what is it? SMB file icon. Well, what is it? I think it's icon file. Oh man, what's my IP? This is my IP. No, 10 point to, I'm not even good with prompts. 128. And let's see if this thing can. Perfect. Good. This is it. But obviously oh, you bloody hell. All right, let me see if I can log in. Really didn't want to log in. Usually it'll like, shoot. All right, I want to do this on my machine over here, and then we'll bring it over. I guess you have to be logged into to your to your thing to have it good.
Pat, I don't want to interrupt you, but
Yeah,
someone
go
did
ahead.
put a question in chat.
Go ahead.
What's the
Where's
difference between security testing and pen testing?
Oh, that's a good one. So security testing, it all depends on the industry that you're in, right? So penetration testing is going to test the barriers or the controls that the organization has in place, and we need to see if we can exploit them. And there's a talk that I actually just worked on putting together industries that are required for penetration testing, right? Because there's companies that really, they don't really need it, but they have to get it because of regulatory compliance reasons. So security testing is saying, okay, I just want to test the security controls, but penetration testing is actually going in to actually penetrate, hack the network. And a security control, excuse me, a security test is like, okay, testing the security policies and everything like that to make sure you have everything in place. That's how I explain it, and that's how I understand it. Or there can be people that say, oh, I just need to get security test, which they can use interchangeably. But overall, when people say security testing, you're going to test the controls and all that stuff that has to do with your actual computer network or application or whatever. And penetration testing is testing the barriers to break into entry. It's like saying, I have an analogy, I think. Like if I'm going to do a security control, excuse me, a security test on your house, right? I'm going to walk around your house and see if you have a ring, see if you have cameras outside, see if your doors are locked, right? And seeing if your dog barks when I try to go in the backyard. But penetration testing is like, okay, I want to try to break your window. I want to try to get into your house and try to take that TV off off your wall. So that's pretty much the difference is. Hopefully that makes more sense. I think in my head that makes more sense.
Yeah, and then the other question was any recommendations on what services or ports to not have active so they can turn into low-hanging fruits for threat actors on Active Directory environments.
Oh, see, yeah, that's a good question. So anything with Active Directory, you're going to have ports open, right? You can't do anything about that. So to make an attacker's life harder, if you instead of using regular LDAP over 389, use LDAP S. I think that's 636, right? So instead of using, you know, older SMB, SMB signing, make sure you have that up to date. Just make sure all your stuff is up to par. And if there is no, like, say, for example, you have an old NAS, like a QNAP NAS or Synology NAS or whatever, that it's older, that you only support up to, X, version X or the revision X, right? And you cannot only have that in an environment that is located and accessible to the people that need it. And that's when you get into like NTFS permissions, share permissions, and stuff like that. And as sysadmins, I've been a sysadmin. Kevin has, there's probably other people that have been. When you get a ticket, I want to speak on myself. I'm not going to speak for anyone else. When I used to get a ticket for like, oh, Bob can't access the share. Or when they went to their home drive or they went to their, the share folder, they get access denied. What I used to do, I don't want to hear from Bob again, right? I don't care about Bob. I just want him to get his access and leave me alone. Close the ticket. So I would go on the file server, go into DC, go to the share, right click, go to properties, and just put everyone. I used to just throw everyone in the group, right? I didn't care because I was a sysadmin, right? I didn't think about the security aspect. I'm like, hey, Bob, double click on it. Oh, I have access. Good. Ticket closed. But what are the repercussions there? Now, when they get an engagement, and this is how a lot of companies fail, and that's how they get attacked, right? Because now, as a sysadmin, you don't think security, you think convenience, you think you just want to get your stuff done so you make the client happy or the user happy, right? So that's where like the whole low hanging fruit. Make sure before you open up a new share, before you do a new implementation for a DC, if you can do an RODC, which is a read-only domain controller, do that. So your global catalog is not writing to this. That gives us less an attack surface, right? Because now we don't have executable access to the GC, to the global catalog for that machine or for that domain controller that's replicated in sites and services, right? So that's, we can have a whole conversation. If you ever want to hit me up, if you have a lab, I'm sure Kevin can help you out too. If you have your lab set up, like make sure you're doing everything with a security layer. So it's not, passing that traffic in plain text. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, and it gets super complicated because you have NTFS and then you have layers and layers of folders for security groups. So sometimes people will create security groups and you just add them to the security group. But if you have no security group set up and you have layers and layers of folders, it gets super granular from the hierarchy of share permissions. So
Hmm.
you have to know how to properly set it up. Otherwise, they'll have access to every folder, and that would be bad. It's like
Yeah,
it's like it's like basically giving HR access, not HR, sorry. It's like basically giving IT access to HR for compensation. Then they could see how much money everyone makes in the company. You would not do that. That's not recommended. So hopefully
hmm.
that makes sense.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Go back to this.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I think this is all good stuff, right? So now I just created this. I just did it on my machine, locally. So what we're going to do is copy. So we have this file now, the SCF file. So now what we can do here is we can do nano. We can just name it shell dot SCF, and we can paste that here. So we're pointing to our machine, which I can see, like if I go over here, do an IPA show, we can see my IP for my ton zero, which is my VPN. And this is the same thing in the real world. If you're doing an internal pen test, you're either VPN'd in to that environment, or you're throwing like a little nook, like one of these. Where's my nook? So I have one of these little guys that I send out to my clients it's a little computer. I install Ubuntu and I use something called zero tier for access. It's like your own private, network. And because some people don't have a VPN, some people don't have that set up. So I need to get access to your internal network. So yeah, so now we're going to be pointing to this IP. All right. So now technically, if I do Control X, Y, enter, and now we can see this shell dot s SCF. Now, technically, if we go open this up, let me have to remember where this thing. Okay. So now let's go ahead and browse out to this. Let's browse out to where is it? Documents. What the hell was this thing? I don't remember. Let's come back here. PWD, Patrick, Patrick, class, hack the box, driver. Boom. Okay. Okay. So now if I submit this, we can get it. Oh, definitely don't want that. So now it's actually on that, right? So if we actually look, let me see if I have these tools on my machine now. Let's move this over. Let's do sudo su and just run it as root because we don't really class, back the box, driver. Okay. So now let's do smb Let's do SMB server. Oh, shoot. In packet, SMB server. Okay. And all right. So what we're going to do is an SMB server for the interface of our ton zero, right? So just want to make sure I do the right pass through. Right. Okay. So we're going to do SMB v2 support. That should be good for me. So um let me think about this for a second. I wonder if I can do, let me see, tools. I guess I'm just going to try this and see if it actually works. PWD, which is our present working directly. And then our SMB support, SMB to, no, I wonder if this is an older version. Give me one sec. Let's just go ahead. Give me one second. Let me do this. See if I have all my other notes. Just have some stuff on a Google Drive too. Let's see if I have that note here. All right, so let's do this. You know what? I have an idea. What about if we run responder? Responder. We're gonna do ton zero. And then let's go ahead and try to, let's go ahead and browse out to that again. Submit. Oh, there we go. Boom. All right. So now we have Tony's hash. So this is, and I just Googled real quick um SVC SCF file upload attack, and that's what, I don't remember every single thing, right? We have to Google sometimes what we need to do. All right, so now we have this hash, right? So we have Tony's hash. Let's go ahead and copy that, and let's just go ahead and nano Tony hash .txt, paste that there, control X, Y. Okay, so let's do an ls. Now we have Tony's hash here. Let's cat that out. Make sure, I always like to make sure everything is good to go. So what we need to do is run hashcat now. Let's do hashcat over here really quick. Let's do hashcat. Oh, you know what? TXT, because this is the location. This is going to be Tony's hash. Wait, did I name it? Tony hash. Okay. And then we're going to do a different mode because our mode is going to be 5600 for our, so let's see if let's crack this. There we go. So little Tony, damn, that boy little Tony got an easy password. All right, so little Tony is the password, right? So little TT. All right, so let's go ahead and throw this into our, let's just put nano notes, just so Tony, little Tony, okay? Just so I just remember, because I'm old and I will forget. Okay, so now what we have to do is we can try to authenticate now with little Tony, right? So let's try to go ahead and do that and see if we can use, let's do evil WinRM. Ooh, just 8 minutes. Let's see if I can get this going. Almost there. Challenge accepted. I don't think I ever did one recorded user was what, Tony and dash P, little Tony from the hood. All right. So let's see if little Tony, we can authenticate with little Tony's username and password. All right, little Tony, we in, son. All right, so now, man, this box is slow. Okay, so let's CD to desktop, ls. We can get this type user.txt. Now I actually have to submit this because I guess I never did this box. All right, so far so good, just from the jump. Never did this one before. That was pretty easy, I would say. All right, so now we just have to, let's come back up here. Now we just have to get the root, right? So let's come back. Something going bananas. Back here. All right, there we go. All right, so let's do who am I space slash all. See what this guy has access to. See what little TT has access to. All right. Driver, everyone, authenticators. Yeah, not much here, right? So, but we know it's a Rico printer, right? So, right, it was Rico. I think I believe it's Rico. Um, I saw. Just looking at my notes over here too. All right, so do. So I'm thinking we have to get a. Oh, let me see. Let's go to Google. GitHub. We'll GitHub. Um, CVE. But I wonder what CVE this is, though. Something drive me crazy about. Oh, see if they're getting anything here. Oh yeah, so it is a Rico. Okay, cool. All right. Um, oh, my friend. I'll call him back. All right. So RICOH, right? Rico. I think that's supposed to be Rico. All right. So CVE, and it was 2021. This was in 2021. Um, 3, 4. I just see it on a different screen, so that's how I know. I just don't know. It's a print nightmare. Okay. Print nightmare. Okay, so we're going to use a print spooler RCE, which is remote code execution. Um, hmm. Wonder if I have to see if I can run limpies to see what yeah, I think let me see if I have limpies on here. Locate WinPeas. Okay, WinPeas. So WinPeas is pretty much a privilege escalation tool to give us some insight of let's go ahead and just copy this one. Yeah, just to give some insight of what's going on, right? Like the privs paths and everything like that. So let's go ahead and upload. I should have done a 64-bit. Let's see if this thing fails. Oh, it's going. Uh, Let it do its thing. And then once this is done, we'll see. I know we only have, I don't know if we're able to go over a few minutes.
No, that's fine. The box is slow for some reason.
Yeah, this machine is pretty slow. Hopefully this will run. I'm the one that said, yeah, let's do this. I have no,
It's acting up.
yeah, this is but it's always fun to just to pick one that I never did.
But
And
isn't it IT though? IT, we're always waiting for updates.
yeah, exactly. Updates, patches, doing all that fun jazz. It's almost there. And then hopefully this will actually run. And if not, then we have to upload the 64-bit version. But I think the 32-bit should be okay. I hope. Dun, 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 dun. Come on, you can do it. All right. Almost there. Almost there, guys. All right, cool deal. Let's do an LS now. And then let's do that slash MPs. No, why can't I just do that? Keys, X. Oh, yes, it's gonna work. Good. All right, so let this do its thing. So what this is going to do is going to look through every single thing on the system and see if there's any like exploit or vulnerability that can leverage us to privilege escalation. Like this one got access denied. Okay, it should keep going and give us something, I hope.
Someone threw a question in chat.
Yeah, go for it.
Hi, can you explain the relevance of Active Directory in the current pen testing environment? Question mark.
Can let me see if I can see the
Can you explain the relevance of Active Directory in the current pen testing environment?
so the relevance is any infrastructure, not like I said, 98% of the time you're going to have an Active Directory environment. So it is super relevant because anytime you guys get it or the company gets a penetration test or an internal pen test, we're going to go after your Active Directory environment because it's located internally on your network. So the relevance is that it's always going to be there. You know what I mean? If this is going to be your centralized management application for your users, groups, containers, printers, blah 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 blah, it's going to be it's going to be an attack vector, right? So that's why like what you can do is always try to secure it as best as possible and utilize best practices and the benchmarks for all your security what is a CSI or CIS benchmark thing for your Active Directory and make sure you have everything locked down to to the best of your ability. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much the relevance. Like it's everywhere, right? There's no way you're gonna get out of that. So yeah,
And
hopefully.
I was gonna say, and I'm not like super duper red team or anything like that, but I know that I have a friend that works for the government and he uses, was it Stigs
Yep.
for Active Directory and all the domain controller, and he follows like a checklist in the protocol for certain things to be blocked and certain things to be allowed, just to harden Active Directory and domain controller services. And I know that Active Directory is prone to attacks like golden ticket, golden ticket attacks, silver ticket attacks, things like that. So, but
Hmm.
you could talk more about that than me because I'm not really into that stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much like a silver ticket, golden ticket. Those are just grabbing because anytime you authenticate to Active Directory, you're granted a ticket, right? So if you put yourself in the middle, and if you have like a service account or something like that that's granting these tickets, you can actually, as an attacker, you can request a ticket from the domain controller. And if it gives you a ticket, then you can just leverage that ticket, try to pass that around or try to, crack it or do your tricks and tips against your environment for those tickets that you're able to compromise. Right. So yeah, that's pretty much that. So I don't think this, I'm gonna do upload really quick for this one for 64-bit. Because this 32-bit, I think, didn't really give us everything. But yeah, that's pretty much that. I know John, I think John put something out for this. This is not John's thing. Um, what the hell did John put out?
John Hammond.
Yeah, yeah, he put something out for this CVE, and I don't know why it's like calling. I'm just gonna put John. I think you spell Hammond like that, or whatever, however you spell it. All right. Yeah, maybe this one is it. There should be like a PowerShell script. I think he put, yeah, this PS1 script. Yeah, I think this is it. Um, Let me try to pull this down too while we get this cooking over here. Let me do wget. I'm just do get clone. Let me just clone it. It should be fine. Um, Damn, why is everything going so slow now? Okay, so ls cv ls. Okay, so we have that. Let me just cat that out real quick. Perfect. Awesome. Cool. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to cp ce to, all right, so let me go over here and do this, but let me do 64 and let that run. Okay, let that do its thing. All right, so now I want to do, I'm going to do pwd. All right, so now I want to do cp. I want to copy this file to home Patrick class hack the box driver. Why can't I copy this? So just saying. What the hell? Why did not let me copy that? CP. What about if I move it? Whatever. I'll just run it from here then. Doesn't really matter. All right. I don't know why that's bugging out. All right. So we'll see. Because I need to see the attack path that we're able to leverage in this. So we'll give this a moment. And I know if we're on this machine, we should be able to read the console history, but let me see where that's at, like by default. I don't know. Um, Read PowerShell console history. What is it? Underscore history. file. Where the hell is that? I'm gonna put locate. Let's see what the location is. Data. Okay. So app data roaming, PowerShell, inline. Okay. So pretty much here. Okay. Good. So copy this. Put this down here for now. And then I'm going to, the user is going to be Tony. It's going to do specifically Tony. And then inline PowerShell. Okay, so um so it's console history. All right, all right. I don't know what this thing should look like. Let me see something. All right, I think that should be good. Let me see here. Make sure this looks all good. So, okay, this looks good. All right, so now let's copy this and see if we can read this now. And from our machine, what if I cat? Okay, so yeah, here we go. So now we can see the console. So we add printer Rico, the driver. So pinging 1.1.1.1. So it's pretty much pinging out to Google. So now we have our let's just do let's upload. Let's actually upload um upload. Let's get this PWD. Copy this, paste, and then we need that CVE. CVE. There we go. So we need to get that PowerShell script onto the attacker or onto the machine that we're attacking. And then from there, then hopefully we can do like set execution policy to bypass. And then we can try to run this and import it. All right. All right. So let's see if John gives us any. Oh, I exited out. All right, we'll figure it out. We're pretty smart. All right. So let's just go ahead and copy this really quick. This is just a basic input validate. And then I want to go ahead and input that PS. Well, let me just do an ls, make sure it's there. Yep. So now I'm going to import that into here. Perfect. Okay, perfect. So now what we're going to have to do, go ahead and copy this, and I want to make some changes to this really quick. And then I want to put password. I'm just going to put hacker Pat 2026. And then my name is going to be Pat. Okay. Perfect. All right. So now technically we can do net user. Pat is there. Perfect. So now we can see, we could do net user Pat. And Pat is a part of the administrators group. All right. So now we can try to evil WinRM to what the hell is my thing? Was it hacker Pat like that? See, I'm so old, I don't remember. Hacker Pat 2026 thing. That's my password. My user's Pat. I don't know if that's the, oh, not the IP. Okay. What? Shoot. User. Okay, that should be good. Why can't I? IP. Azure Pay 2026. What's going on here? Oh, I see. I'm an idiot. Let me do that. Let's see if we're able to compromise this machine. Damn, this machine is slow. Let me wind
Someone
it.
put a question in chat.
Yeah, go for it.
Can you explain how often Active Directory is present in system administration positions?
Ooh, I think that's more of a question for you. But for system administration, I haven't been a sysadmin now. We're in 2026, probably in over 16 years, right? So, but I still know like the grasp of sysadmin because I tax sysadmins. So I think it's really important because anywhere you go, now I think it's more of a question of attacking Azure AD, right? Because more things are going to the cloud. But I think it's super important to learn. I can't say much about it. Um, I would say definitely go learn it. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, and then the last other question, yeah, I mean, that's why this is why we talk about home labs because I always recommend like if you're brand new to IT and you're doing help desk or sysadmin, I always recommend you build a lab from scratch and set up a VM with a server in it and then install Active Directory from scratch just to get experience. Then you could add that on your resume. But a lot of these jobs do require you to do like help desk would be like password reset, like really simple basic stuff. But as you go more into the nitty-gritty of sysadmin, you will be actually connecting to that server, if that makes sense. But we'll go back to the second question that she asked. Have you ever used Bloodhound tool for Active Directory pen testing before? Thank you.
all all the time, all the time. So Bloodhound is a tool that maps out Active Directory. So in order for us to really use Bloodhound, that's like when we're trying to attack like access control lists and seeing actually what's going on in the environment to see if we have shortest path to DA. But yes, you will definitely, I don't know what's going on with this thing. Um, but yeah, I use it all the time. If I'm in an AD environment, if I have an assumed breach scenario, that's the first thing I'm going to do is use Bloodhound. I don't know why can I get onto this thing? Yeah, it's a part of the admins group. All right, so if I just cd um cu/users slash, you know what I'll do? I'm just gonna do this, see if this works. TYPE administrator desktop root.txt. See if that works. This is so I don't know what the hell is going on. Nothing happened. I want to copy this and throw this into Chat GPT. I actually never seen this happen. Fix this error.
Yeah, you happen to pick the world's fastest machine.
Yeah, I know.
Insane.
Redirected credentials. I think you mean. Username, blah. Password's correct. Passwords. Let's see. Let's do this. Yeah, Pat is a part of it. What's going on here? Um, if I don't think that's gonna work. Oh, this is silly. I wonder. This is. We're pretty much done. Just need to get the damn. All right, who am I? It's like anything that I run. Let me s- I don't normally do this, but let's look at the walkthrough. See if there's something that's someone's right up here. English. Let's look at this right up. Let's see that of course content owner map time. All right. Let's see Miguel. Does work. All right. Oh, it's in Spanish, of course. Yeah, translate to English. All right. So let's see. This is all normal. Yeah, we got little Tony. Yep, blah blah blah. We're able to do this. Yep, we got this. Got this successful. Invoke Miggy, Megalito, and then Megalito is there, and then you just logged in as Megalito. What the hell am I missing then? It's really weird. Uh, you know what? This is what I want to do. Boom. Thank you, Megalito. I'm just gonna do this because we're already in. We just need to. Let's do this. 'Cause now I'm like determined to get this damn thing done. If I already got the route before, then I would have been like, ah, yeah, we're pretty much in. We're good, guys. But this still drive me bonkers. All right, so we're gonna try do what the hash, the administrator hash. All right, there we go. I don't know what the hell. Thank you, Miguel. Comes to save the day. I don't know why my creds weren't working. All right, so that's that machine. Yeah, so that was, I would say, difficulty. It was easy, it just didn't, shit didn't work. All right, so now we can stop that machine. Awesome. So I'll stop sharing. Um, yeah, if there's any other questions, uh, I'll hang out for a few minutes.
Yep. I'm just I have the questions open. You answered all the questions already, the most of them. And that box was a pain. It was so slow.
Yeah, it was a little slow, but Miguel came to the rescue.
Yep.
That's why, and if anyone's on here trying to learn pen testing or hacking or whatever, like don't be ashamed that you go look at a walkthrough or some kind of like little hints or whatever, because at the end of the day, everyone has their ways of skinning the cat. So like, I don't know, maybe it just didn't like Pat, but it took my Pat as a user. So then I was able to log into it, but then I was able to navigate. Every time I try to navigate with that user, it would kick me out. So I technically take that as a win. Just needed to get that administrator hash so I can just speed up the process. But yeah, it was fun. Hopefully someone on here found this informative. And if there's any other questions after the fact, I'm pretty much Patrick Gorman on LinkedIn, and you can pretty much hit me up anywhere. InfoSec Pat on the socials, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Hey, you had a bunch of people here,
Uh,
actually. Like there was a lot of people, like mostly everyone stayed, which was great.
Cool. I'm glad I was able to have some fun, struggle a little bit so you see I'm human. And and yeah. And if there's, like I said, if there's any questions after the fact, if you ever have questions about offensive security, cybersecurity, pen testing, even blue teaming, all that good stuff, let me know. Um, I feel like I'm a pretty decent resource, and I'm a busy person outside of work. So if there's any time that you hit me up and I don't answer right away, don't take it personal. I will get to you whenever I can. But yeah,
Someone
that's
put in chat, thank you for that Hack the Box guide. I will be sharing this resource with my students as a project leader at my university.
nice. Awesome. That's dope. Sweet.
All right, Pat, I'll give you back your time. Thank you for doing this. You did two boxes instead of one, actually, which is kind of cool. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you always having here, doing all these events. And
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to having you again
Yeah, man.
later on this year.
Awesome. Much love, guys. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, later, guys.
Cheers. Cheers.